There's something about our makeup that wants to encrypt and preserve something that has just happened, that in other species, other animals, just disappears. It's evanescent. But for us, we capture it and we put it into words and we share it with people we love. I think we've survived millions of years of evolution because we can tell each other stories.
My earliest memories of storytelling come from the Second World War, and those stories were fresh. It was particularly resonant as the war was important for Jews as it was for many other people. But what it really impacted on me was the importance of international cooperation, anything to prevent the ghastliness of war.
We were once in Istanbul, and at a certain moment the publishers said, we now have to stop the meeting for a moment because every day we go to the court and start picketing with local authors and publishers in front of the court because they had put a publisher in jail. All of a sudden we were standing on the street and you realize that those people are doing this every week, every day to show the world that it was not right that lawyers and judges had put a publisher in jail.
So it's the fight against censorship, it's the solidarity among publishers, so that every publisher can publish without any risk to that individual or that organization. And there are publishers which are absolute heroes. They publish books which are controversial, which they know are going to be censored. And they pay a price for that. Sometimes it's imprisonment, and sometimes they pay the ultimate price with their lives.
The freedom to publish is a vital part of what enables publishers to operate, and we have to be constantly vigilant as the threats to it are constantly changing. Whether it is state censorship or self-censorship, we work to make sure publishers can publish what they feel deserves to be published.
Freedom to publish and copyright are mutually reinforcing concepts and mutually reinforcing fundamental rights that belong to a coherent system of fundamental rights. So they're both enshrined in the treaties on human rights, and they belong together. And that's because an author with no opportunity to publish and be rewarded for their work will not be free to express themselves. They might have to rely on patronage or government funding, and that's not freedom.
If we don't protect copyright, then publishers can't sustain their businesses for long. Copyright protection is not just essential for publishing, it's essential for modern economies.
It's the main legal instrument of protection of these rights. Just think with me, without copyright, there is no incentive for authors to dedicate themselves and their lives writing for the publishers. So if there is no protection to their creation, there is no books.
The most memorable is probably the fun moment, and you could count things like the Congress that we hold at Cape Town, in Bangkok, London, Delhi, and we share so much during that brief period of time. If you ask me what was the pivotal moment, it was the Marrakesh Treaty to give access to those with visual impairment to as much books as possible. And the only way we could do that was through technology.
I think that diversity in general has changed a lot. It goes together with freedom. Freedom to publish, freedom to speech, freedom to be whom you want and how you want.
So all those different lenses around ethnicity and sexual identity and regionality are kind of well represented, and that's in the leadership. I'm also very proud to put, I think, diversity and inclusion on the agenda of what we publish, and publishers are aware of that. They really feel that they should recruit diverse staff so that they can really market also to a diverse readership and a diverse authorship.
Africa has been a great example of how diversity and inclusion has been important and is going to be important for us at IPA.
So something that stands out for me is our Africa Publishing Innovation Fund, which was created in partnership with Dubai Cares. We have supported many projects in Africa that focus on publishing innovation and in building libraries.
Last year, many publishers decided to make scientific publications available for free on a temporary basis as our contribution to tackle the pandemic. And we have to remind that this was possible because we had copyright. To do this when it's needed for a crisis like we had last year. I also think it was a moment where it was important to have a friendly voice over the other end of the line saying, okay, we will get through this together.
After the Balkan War in 2003, when I was traveling from the airport of Belgrade to Belgrade itself, I was just astonished because the destruction of the bombs were much bigger than ever the newspapers and the press have told us. There was a common message they wrote in the papers: please, people of the world, don't throw us bombs, send us books. I think that IPA at the end is about values. We represent the memory of the past, and we need to follow up this work of promoting the dignity of ideas.
When you work in these areas, in the institutional associations, you're not working for yourself, you're working for the others, you are giving, you are just trying to draw a path, in this case a path for the book.
With others behind you or others with you, all these paths, they get less difficult to overcome.
It is not the president who's doing this. It is not the vice president who is doing it. It's not when I was the chairman of boards, committees and so on, which is the work, but it is the total work, and you do it together in a truly international environment.
And then it is your job to try to harmonize them all and to walk in the same direction.
One of our key values is collaboration. Developments are global and policy is local, but I think behind that or beneath that is an even more important value, and that's that we feel connected to each other.
If we focus on the best interest of our members, then our industry does well. And if our industry does well, then our societies do well. Because our organization is international, and this is one of our key strengths. The world is changing so fast, and when we focus on diversity, then we ensure that we have multiple perspectives, different opinions that allow us to truly represent and understand our readers. And that will help us stay relevant and sustainable.